It was a night that changed the course of history for millions. The air thick with the scent of burning homes, the streets stained with the innocent blood. 1984, not just a year, but a wound that still festers in the hearts of Sikhs worldwide. India, a nation that prides itself on democracy and secularism, has yet to answer for the systematic persecution of its own people. But how did it all begin? The roots of Sikh oppression go back decades. Post-independence India saw growing tensions between the Sikh community and the central government. The demand for greater autonomy under the Anandpur Sahib resolution was met with hostility. The resolution, drafted in 1973, sought to preserve Sikh religious and cultural identity while advocating for economic and political rights, including more control over resources and governance within Punjab. However, the Indian government viewed these demands as a separatist threat rather than legitimate grievances. What followed was an orchestrated campaign to weaken the Sikh identity, both politically and religiously. Throughout the 1970s and early 1980s, Sikhs faced increasing marginalization. Political leaders and the media fueled anti-Sikh sentiments, portraying the community as insurgents. The rise of prominent Sikh leader Sant Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale further escalated tensions. While he championed Sikh rights, the government painted him as a militant, using his influence as a pretext for harsher crackdowns. Clashes between the central government and Sikh activists became inevitable, leading to violent confrontations, wrongful imprisonments, and systematic discrimination. Then came 1984. Operation Blue Star, touted as an anti-militancy operation, was in reality a brutal assault on Sikhism's holiest shrine, the Golden Temple. Tanks rolled into Amritsar, bullets ripped through the sacred walls, and thousands of Sikhs were slaughtered. But this was only the beginning. Months later, Indira Gandhi's assassination by her Sikh bodyguards triggered state-sponsored massacres. Mobs armed with iron rods, petrol bombs, and electoral lists identifying Sikh homes roamed the streets of Delhi. The message was clear: wipe them out. Police stood by complicit. Politicians, instead of stopping the bloodshed, orchestrated it. Over 3,000 Sikhs were killed in just a few days. Justice? Even after 40 years, the masterminds walk free. Victims' families still await closure. The wounds remain open, passed down from generations to generations. Families recount stories of loved ones torn from their homes, never to return. The echoes of their cries remain unanswered in a nation that refuses to acknowledge its crimes. But the persecution didn't end there. In recent years, Sikhs have faced continuous suppression. Farmers protesting unjust laws were met with brute force. Sikh activists mysteriously disappeared or were labeled as extremists. Voices demanding justice were silenced under Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, also called UAPA. Even globally, Sikhs raising their voices for justice face intimidation, surveillance, and attacks. Meanwhile, the Khalistan movement, a call for an independent Sikh homeland, continues to be painted as extremism rather than an assertion of identity and rights. The Indian state dismisses the grievances, labeling them as threats rather than acknowledging decades of unresolved oppression. The narrative is controlled, the voices are stifled, and any discussion around Sikh sovereignty is met with hostility. Sikhs who advocate for Khalistan, whether in India or abroad, are subjected to harassment, arrest, and in some cases, even assassinations. And now, as we speak, Sikhs worldwide continue to fight for recognition of the genocide, a truth India desperately tries to bury. Despite global advocacy, official recognition remains elusive as political alliances and economic interests take precedence over justice. Governments hesitate to call it what it was, a genocide, while survivors and their descendants tirelessly document the atrocities, refusing to let history be rewritten. The question remains: for how long will India evade accountability? For how long will justice be denied? How many more voices must be silenced before the world takes notice? History doesn't forget, neither do the oppressed. This is Amara Farid Baloch, and you're watching Nexus Bulletin. Nexus.